several people that I really highly regarded their opinion about dancing in general and dancers mentioned Maxie as being the best Balboa dancer they'd ever seen.
Well, we would ask Dean who was the best Balboa dancer, and he would always say Maxie Dorf.
And these cats just bow. We start to look at the dance and go, man, what are they doing, man? They're barely moving their feet, man. It's like, oh, he's following these guys. It's amazing to see.
I think just watching him, he had such an ease about the way he danced. I mean, he used, even when the music was dance, it made you feel like, well, he was just taking it easy, but he looked so cool. He was not just cool in the way he danced, but just the way he acted and everything he did.
It's Maxie.
It wasn't until I actually saw Maxie that I said, oh, hey, this dance is kind of cool.
Jonathan and Sylvia, we did work with them. They said they learned from Maxie. We said, ooh, do we have a chance to work with him?
He was an improvisational teacher. He would do it. You would try to emulate what he did, and then he would do it differently, and you'd emulate that. And the thing that was kind of puzzling, and I'm still not sure about this, Joel, but you dance, he would show the same move 3 different ways, or 5 different ways, and I'll show you some of that later on.
I remember.
But I had this idea is that he would dance it, he would see you imitating him, and he'd see something he didn't like, so he would change it, so you would imitate it like he was. It would change the way you would dance. It was a unique way of learning from somebody.
And we'd slowed way down and we worked on the basic for months and months and months until we got that down well enough that he thought we could go on to the next figure, whatever that was. And it wasn't so much that we weren't able to get to the figure, but he really was adamant on our getting the soul and the feel of the dance before we went on, because he didn't want us just to memorize a bunch of patterns. He was hoping that to be able to pass it on to another generation of dancers, and he looked at us as being the people who were interested in it, so consequently he was going to make sure we got that basic stuff down.
But
Right.
I like the fact that compared to today, these guys are real street dancers. And the street that they had in the dance and the originality that each cat brought to the table was amazing. I mean, they all look different. I mean, and that was amazing to see.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we relate.
You relate.
For the private, and he definitely did not appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't be late.
Don't
for
be
your
late
private.
for Maxie.
The 50 million ways he did the same move.
Yes.
His unparalleled musicality. And I don't mean that he just hits breaks, and I don't mean that he does all sorts of fancy pieces of footwork. I mean that he feels it at a soulful level, the way a lot of dancers do not.
Is how relaxed he was when he would do any of the moves. He'd make it look so easy and effortless, and the precision that he wanted us all to have. He was very particular about where my feet were, giving me good advice, like putting tape on the floor for working on crossovers to get the exact footwork down. Always bringing that foot back and precise when I was doing the basic. And I guess the one thing that stands out is practicing the slow music. I remember the second or third time we went to work with him in Santa Barbara, and we were thinking, all right, now we're going to dance to White Heat, we're going to dance to all this fast stuff. And he puts on Ray Anthony in a mellow tone. And he made us dance to that song the whole weekend because we had to get the basic at slow tempos. And that's the only way you learn to dance at fast tempos. So.
And I had an idea that I could take one lesson, he would show me what the basic step was in Balboa, and that was what I was after. That was the only thing I was after. Well, Maxie got there, and he had in mind that he was going to teach swing dancing, not Balboa. So he did this step he called a rock. He would stand there was no footwork at all, he just rocked to one side and rocked to the other side. I couldn't figure out what the beat was or anything like that, but Hank, Maxie he just couldn't believe the lesson, but he was willing to take my money. And I agreed to have another lesson with him. So anyway, for 6 months, I just learned swing dancing from Maxie. And at the very end of that sequence, when Jonathan and Sylvia started coming into the lessons, he finally started showing some Balboa, which was what I was originally after.
But I guess the warm, fuzzy favorite Maxie moment would be in Las Vegas a few years back, basically the last time I danced with him. That's also on tape. There was a teacher's jam, and he had been in the hospital, and he was in a wheelchair. And he got out of the wheelchair to do the little teacher demo with me, and we did a really nice slow little bow. And he got through the whole entire thing, did slides, did stuff. I could tell he was not feeling too well, but we got through the whole thing. And at the end, he sat down in the wheelchair, and it was really a very emotional time for me. It was, I kind of knew that was probably the last time I was going to dance with him. But that's still, even though it's kind of sounds sad, it's a very fond memory I have of Maxie.
Well, here's a Maxie moment that I remember. Maxie was trying to show us how to do the splits at the rec center, and he had his glasses in his pocket, and every time he would go into it, the glasses would fly out. And I don't know how many times he showed it, but every time those glasses would be flying and he'd be cursing.
Hardcore cat, and it was all let's get down to business with him, and I did appreciate that because I'm kind of let's get down to business kind of cat too, so that worked really well with me.
Okay.
I would call him, more frequently and not like on a weekly basis, but I would try to keep in touch with him. If I would have not talked with him for 4 months or something, I'd just give him a call out of the blue and just see how things are going. And we always had really long conversations. It seems like we always talked about things and about this performance group that he used to perform in, and some of the other cats that he used to watch and that were pretty amazing. It just seemed like I always wanted to find out if there was any footage on it, and there was very, very, very little.
Yeah.
So,
More personal, more intimate, sitting down at the table talking about the old days,
Yeah.
contest days, or mostly his personal life. So it was just charming. It was nice to sit with him and talk about other things other than dancing.
Yeah.
This probably happened to just about everybody else that Max has worked with. He would, I wanted to learn the reverse turn. And asking him, how do you do the reverse turn with a ballroom on carpet? And he's a little older at the time, and he takes the follow, he does it, come around, does a turn, grab the follow, and he goes, it's like that. So I take the follow, and I come around, and I do the turn, and I grab the follow, and he goes, no, not like that, come here, look. Takes his follow, he does swivels out, comes on through, sends his follow behind him, does a reverse turn, grabs the follow, comes back. I go, okay. So I try to do swivels. I do swivels here, and I'm not very good at it, and I send my follow out, and I grab the follow, and he goes, no, come here. Takes the follow. He then proceeds to go into swing. And he's doing swing, and he sends the follow behind him, grabs the follow, brings it back front, and he goes, no, after I try it.
Of course, the actual time I got to spend with him in Vegas a couple times, especially in Santa Barbara. We flew him out to Jonathan and Sylvia's and spent the weekend with him, and I had a chance to really sit and talk with him a lot at that time. When we went out and visited him in Vegas the second time, we had some good times there, I remember playing Let It Ride, which is a card game in Vegas, and I won a pretty big pot. Maxie was so excited, and he immediately took us to a fancy restaurant for us to treat him for dinner. So that was kind of funny. And it was this second trip out to Vegas where Maxie gave me a few things. He gave me a pair of shoes that belonged to him, which are kind of special to me. I wore them the second All Balboa weekend in Cleveland when I taught with Sylvia. So that was kind of a special moment. His feet are smaller than mine, so it wasn't very comfortable, but it was still special. And he also gave me this small bottle that still contains a little bit of dance wax in it, and he would carry this around. And my all-time favorite Maxie moment, but yet it's also a sad moment, is the last time in Vegas when he danced with Sylvia, and I was spending that time wheeling him around in a wheelchair, and he was saying hello to everyone, and he had the chance to get up and dance during the teacher's demo, and it was really special to see that, but also very sad knowing you just had one of those feelings that might have been one of his last dances. And so it was very special for him, for Sylvia, for me. There was a lot of emotion going on at that time. So it was a favorite moment, a happy moment, yet sad moment. So that was very special as well.
More than any other dancer I've seen in the swing scene, he was just dead on rhythmically.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't a showy dancer. He wasn't a flashy dancer.
Yeah.
He was just he's a rhythm dancer.
Mm-hmm.
And, he was just outstanding in that regard.
It was endlessly musical. I had a great time riding the ride with him and being able to be privileged to go through the music with him. And he was just an interesting guy, and would also sometimes be talking to him on the phone. He would call up, just he'd be lonely, or he'd have some idea about something, and we'd talk for 2 or 3 hours on the phone when he was living in Vegas, and I enjoyed that. As a matter of fact, I still on my cell phone, I still have his phone number on my cell phone. I can't, even though it's not, it doesn't ring anymore. I still can't erase him from my cell phone.
I remember there were times where I would think, okay, I've kind of got it now. But then I realized what's so fascinating about Balboa is that no matter how long you do it, I always discover these little moments of insight going, ooh, that's different, or that's very nice. But one thing about watching Maxie, he was also always very humbling. It's like, oh darn, I don't know how to do this at all.
Yeah.
You know, watching him, you just kind of throw up your arms and go, oh well, let's wait until I'm 70, maybe I'll get it.
I just hope his legacy lives on, his spirit, and we can do him justice, you know, and keep it going. That not only him, all the other greats, all these other cats, we need to really pay attention to our past and make sure we don't forget about anybody.
Great.
I felt very fortunate knowing him, and we got along pretty good. And he's definitely the cool guy hanging out there, and of course a lot of great dancers.
I miss him.
Yes.
I miss him very much.
Yeah.
I just wish that I had more time, that I could have spent more time with him.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm sure he was a fountain of knowledge. And
I think what he was trying to get across wasn't where the move starts or where the move stops, but more how the move looks and feels, and that it can be led from just about anywhere else. He wasn't able to necessarily explain it, but he was able to show it better than anybody else I've ever met.
Okay.
My final thoughts, I really wish Maxie would have met Allison, because I know he would have loved her and loved her Balboa dancing, and so that would be nice. And finally, Sylvia and I both mentioned the bittersweet memory of the last dance in Vegas, so I only see it very fitting that we end this documentary with the last dance.